Not yet learned your lesson?
This time, Fenlong, I came ready.
Ready to lose again?
Welcome to the relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Hi everybody, I'm with Gabby Fundora, the undisputed flyweight champion. If you defend the title for the third time, would you like to move up or go down in weight or stay at 112?
I'll probably stay. Right now I'm looking at staying at 112. I need to collect these rings. So I got a WBA ring and I got an IBF ring. And I got the WBC. All I need is the WBO. I just needed to defend my belts two more times. And then I'll get the WBO ring and then maybe I'll go down in weight.
Is there any possible opponents that you would like to face?
I want to fight for the belts. So if I go down to light fly, then I'll probably fight whoever has the WBC, Lulu, Juarez, and then I'll probably go and fight Bermudez.
What kind of statement are you looking to make on Fight Night Saturday?
Steal the show. Sorry, Barboza, I'm going to have to steal the show.
And I actually believe that she will. I really like Gabby Fundora. I like her style. I like her boxing. I actually like it a lot more than her brothers. I think she's a more skillful operator than even her big bro. But I couldn't help but notice what she said, that she's going to stay in the flyweight division for at least 2 more fights, the flyweight division, where there isn't much in terms of name value or quality of competition. Things are a bit deeper upstairs at Superfly, where Jasmine Artiga currently reigns as WBA champion. East LA's Adelaida Ruiz has the WBC. Japan's own Mizuki Hiruta has the WBO, and at least momentarily, Mexico's own Irma Garcia has the IBF. I believe that will change when she faces Emma Doolin on the upcoming MVP show.
Super flyweight right now is a hotter division than flyweight is, and Gabby's not moving up there. I expected her to do so in at least the next 1 or 2 fights, but not only is she not moving up,
She's talking about moving down.
she says she's going to stay in the flyweight division for at least 2 more fights and then move down. But what fight at flyweight makes for a good fight? The girl she's about to fight, Viviana Ruiz, her mandatory via the WBA, is a good and solid fighter, but I think Gabby's going to do to her what she's been doing to all these girls. I think she's going to mow her down and knock her out.
There's very little hope for Viviana Ruiz to win this fight this weekend. Is there any girl in the flyweight division that stands a chance against Gabriela? And there is only one, just one that I can think of. Mexico's own former WBC interim champion, Kenia Enriquez, who after not getting a world title opportunity via the WBC, who she fought for, decided to dabble in MMA. And she just had an MMA fight yesterday, another one.
I believe that she is now 3-0 in the octagon.
You remember how the WBC left Dillian White in limbo, not ordering the fight between him and Deontay Wilder when it was the most sensible and sensical fight to make? If there's any fighter that I can think of that was more hard done by the World Boxing Council than Dillian White, it would have to be Kenia, because at least Dillian got his title shot. Eventually he got it when Tyson Fury had the belt, whereas Kenia never got hers across 2 weight classes. She captured the WBC interim light flyweight title back in 2017, and for 3 years, the World Boxing Council left her in limbo, not ordering the fight between her and then champion Yesenia Gomez. They were protecting Yesenia as a favor to her promoter, Pepe Gomez.
Fast forward, she moves up in weight and captures that same interim title in September of 2023.
At that time, Marlen Esparza was the reigning WBC champion, but the World Boxing Council never ordered the fight between Kenia and Marlen, or the woman that beat Marlen, Gabriela Alaniz.
Gabriela Alaniz became the WBC champion in what was her second fight with Marlen Esparza. She won the rematch, moves right into a Gabriela Fundora fight.
Loses that fight in November of 2024. All the while, Kenia Enriquez is still in the queue, still interim champion. So not only did they not order the fight between Kenia and Marlen, and Kenia and Alaniz, they also didn't order the fight between Kenia and Gabriela. All of last year, there was ample opportunity to order that fight but they never did.
And if there is anyone I can think of who can give Gabriela Fundora a good fight and a hard fight in the flyweight division, it would be Kenia, more so than many others. That if she now plans on staying there for at least 2 more fights, I see no reason that she shouldn't settle up with Kenia.
Kenia sports a professional record of 28 wins with 1 loss and no draws, 11 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 29 professional bouts. Currently on a 15-fight winning streak after having dropped a split decision to Melissa McEnroe all the way back there in 2015.
With so little happening in her boxing career, fight not being ordered, she decided to dabble in mixed martial arts, and I'm just saying, if Gabby is going to stay at flyweight, she may as well fight Kenia. I think it would be criminal not to. Poor Kenia hasn't actually been in the boxing ring since February of 2024, more than 2 years ago.
It's unfortunate because even if Gabby does decide to give Kenia a shot, she will not have actually boxed in a very long time, a woman hard done by the sanctioning bodies.
So if there is anyone I can think of who deserves that fight and who could actually give Gabriela a hard fight, it would be Kenia, more so than many others.
Elsewhere in the world of boxing, 4-weight world champion Shakur Stevenson addresses Zuffa boxing rumors. Rumors suggest Shakur Stevenson has been targeted by Dana White's newly launched Zuffa Boxing for a massive 3-fight deal worth an estimated $60 million. If finalized, the 28-year-old Newark native would become the premier face of White's centralized league. Fresh off the most clinical performance of his career, 119 to 109 masterclass over Teofimo Lopez at MSG on January 31st, Stevenson addressed the speculation. While Stevenson didn't confirm a signed contract, he left the door wide open. Not that I know of, but if they're offering $60 million, call my phone. I'm ready.
$60 million across 3 fights for the likes of a Shakur Stevenson is far too much money, in my opinion. That would put the value of each one of those fights at approximately $20 million.
20.
Per fight. And you ask yourself, why should you care what they're kicking out to the fighter? It's because these inflated purses create market instability that results in a more expensive sport for me and you to watch.
The win over Lopez earned Stevenson the WBO 140-pound title and made him a 4-weight world champion. His stock has never been higher, having secured back-to-back dominant wins over William Zepeda and Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, good for him, but I don't think he's a $20 million fighter.
Zuffa's interest in Stevenson likely revolves around a potential fight with Conor Benn. Benn is set to face former champion Regis Pagarius at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on April 11th of this year. If Benn defeats Pagarius, Zuffa reportedly wants to headline their first major Vegas Stadium show in late 2026 with Stevenson versus Benn. Is it a good move? A $60 million 3-fight contract would immediately place Stevenson among the highest paid athletes.
Yeah, but not organically.
Beyond the purse, the appeal lies in Dana White's proven ability to build megastars rather than just fighters. While boxing promoters often struggle with cross-platform marketing, White's Zuffa infrastructure,
White's ability to build megastars?
leveraging the UFC's marketing machine and the new Paramount Plus distribution deal could elevate Stevenson to a household name. Ultimately, this is a high-reward, calculated risk. For Stevenson, the clinical masterclasses against Lopez and William Zepeda proved he's cleared out the traditional competition. Joining Zuffa allows him to be the first in a new era, essentially betting that Dana White can do for boxing what he did for MMA, as long as the contract doesn't trap him in a long-term exclusive rights loop that prevents him from seeking the undisputed crown in other divisions. The $60 million floor is too high to ignore.
But the pay scale not being organic, the pay scale being manufactured, creates market instability because that doesn't actually make Shakur Stevenson a $60 million fighter. For a perspective, think about what Shannon Sharp said about Shakur Stevenson and his fights.
Ocho, just look, for me, Shakur is a great fighter. But I wouldn't pay my hard-earned money to $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for tickets to go see him.
No,
it's just not.
Okay, hey, give me a better understanding on why you would. Now me, as much as
because I want to see some fighting. I don't want to see no. And people are like, well, that's if you go back and look at Floyd at 130, 135, 140. Floyd was getting people out of there. Look at Sugar Ray at that same weight, was getting people out of there. Look at Hearns. You look at Sweet Pea Whitaker. You look at all the great fighters that fought at 30, 35, 40. They were getting people out of there. I just don't think this style. He's not gonna get enough people fighting this style, Ocho, to get him that $30, $40 million payday that he's
You know what? I think he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it anyway because he's the best at what he does. He's the best at 135. He's the best at 140, and his style. I mean, it's what it is.
If these rumors about the estimated offer to Shakur ring true, that would have proven Ocho Cinco right. But I tend to agree more with Shannon Sharp than Ocho Cinco.
I think most people do.
Because some generous benefactor is willing to pay you well in excess of your market value, well, that's all well and good for you, but it does have a ripple effect on the sport because the value is manufactured. It's not organic. It's not actually in response to your fanfare. It's not being generated by the fans.
But the fans are the ones, they're gonna have to make up the difference because if you're paying him that means he's gonna be on pay-per-view.
Should he be?
Under conventional circumstances, it's the fans that determine who the pay-per-view fighters are and who the pay-per-view fighters aren't. But in this instance, it's all manufactured. So you're gonna have a fighter expecting an insane amount of money he's not actually good for based on some other guy's generosity. That's not exactly a sustainable business. And this is all intended to do what?
To launch Zuffa Boxing. If you kick out this dollar amount, is it even gonna have the desired effect? Initially, I thought that Turki Al-Sheikh enlisted the aid of Dana to create a more sustainable infrastructure and a healthier business model. But if you're kicking out these purse amounts, it's really more of the same. It doesn't change anything.
More inflated purses, creating more inflated demands, and thus creating more pay-per-views.
Something to consider, all the money that's behind Zuffa is creating market instability to the point where the competing promoters and sanctioning bodies may be colluding behind the scenes to try and slow Zuffa down.
What is collusion?
It's the business version of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's when two or more parties get together to take out a mutual enemy, a competitor.
What's so unethical about that?
Well, competing promoters cavorting with sanctioning bodies to deter fighters from signing to Zuffa under penalty of being stripped is unethical because it's not the sanctioning body's place to do that. Unless it's written in the charter of the sanctioning body's bylaws that their champions and their contenders are not allowed to fight in anybody's league.
You might be crossing a line.
Overreaching and, in effect, stepping on toes on the premise that you don't recognize the Zuffa belt. So what? There are a good number of other titles you don't recognize, but you never gave anyone an ultimatum for holding them. To then now give fighters an ultimatum for holding this, not only is it hypocritical, it's collusion. I'm not completely sure the sanctioning bodies can get away with it. Not if you're cavorting with competing promoters to slow down Zuffa and arrest the development of their growing stable. Business-wise, I'm not sure they can do that.
But given who's behind them, the amount of money they're willing to kick out, if they are willing to kick out $60 million just to acquire Shakur Stevenson, they've got to slow him down somehow.
So this is what they're said to be resorting to. I don't know that Shakur Stevenson is going to go over there. Turkey wants to use him that bad to where he's willing to pay him that. He could just use him on his Ring magazine and Riyadh season cards.
And have Zuffa promoted.
Not completely sure. In any event, Zuffa continues to make waves, big ripples, in their short time within the boxing space.
Now, just in keeping with the theme of sanctioning bodies overstepping their bounds, the WBO and the WBA deny special World Boxing Council belt for the Gilberto Ramirez versus David Benavidez fight.
Phoenix, Arizona. The WBO and WBA are prepared to withdraw their sanction of the May 2nd Unified Cruiserweight Championship fight between Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez and David Benavidez due to the unexpected involvement in the fight by the World Boxing Council. Boxing Scene learned on Thursday. The Mexico-based World Boxing Council this week summoned two-weight world champion Zurdo Ramirez and David Benavidez to Mexico for a ceremony unveiling a special new
I don't know how to pronounce that.
belt for the Cinco de Mayo bout winner in Las Vegas. That event, according to boxing officials, prompted a conversation between WBO President Gustavo Olivieri and WBA President Gilberto Mendoza.
Those are the two sanctioning bodies Zurdo holds titles with, not the World Boxing Council, so that the World Boxing Council would take it upon themselves to crash this party they're not invited to get involved, it sort of begs the question, to what extent are they involved? Although the unbeaten Benavidez wears the World Boxing Council light heavyweight title, his cruiserweight pursuit is for the WBO and the WBA straps in an event those sanctioning bodies want to stamp as their own. Thus, the WBO and WBA are expected to submit letters to Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya and Eric Gomez, and Premier Boxing Champions Tom Brown and Louis DeCubas, expressing their dismay. If the World Boxing Council's special belt is to be fought for, according to the letter, the WBO and WBA will not award their belts to the winner. Noel Mikhailian of Armenia currently wears the World Boxing Council's cruiserweight title. Olivieri and Mendoza did not immediately respond to messages left by Boxing Scene on Thursday.
Because Ramirez is from Mazatlan, Sinaloa, Mexico, and Benavidez is a Mexican-American from Phoenix, the fight is being billed as an all-Mexico affair, built around a significant date for that country, as well as on the annual boxing calendar. The drama continues, a week-long saga over belts that saw the World Boxing Council yank its belt from lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson after he fought for the WBO and didn't pay the WBC's requested sanctioning fees. Then earlier this week, the IBF declined to sanction cruiserweight champion Jai Opetaya's title defense in Vegas because of the presence of the new Zuffa boxing belt. Whether Opetaya will be stripped or not is still under consideration by the IBF, shifting the focus back over to the WBC. You can see why Gustavo and Gilberto might have had enough of the WBC's shenanigans. I remember Mauricio Suleiman's recent appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, where you saw him carrying on and on about the World Boxing Council and their relevance to the sport, as if Mauricio Suleiman himself were the steward for boxing, its appointed gatekeeper, overstating his role, which he often does. Which they're doing now. What are you doing here? Because David holds one of your belts at 175? This fight ain't at 175 for one of your belts. So under what pretext are you involved? What, because they're both Mexican? I didn't realize you were the ambassador for all Mexican fighters. You don't see Gustavo getting involved with every fight involving a Puerto Rican.
Daryl Peoples getting involved with every fight that involves an American, or Gilberto Mendoza getting involved with every fight that involves a Panamanian, but that's what the WBC tries to do whenever Mexicans are involved, and they take it all upon themselves. This is not an honor that was bequeathed to them, a responsibility.
How does this look? That you're holding some big ceremony in Mexico for a fight that you're not involved in? You're stealing their thunder, and they've had enough. I've long maintained that, in spite of the WBC's reputation for being the most prestigious alphabet title, they are no more important and no more prestigious than the other three sanctioning bodies.
It's about time somebody told them.
I expect to hear an update on this by the time that this video is uploaded, but it is about time that Mauricio get a reality check.